Hello and welcome to another episode of Grange TV. We have with us Mr. David Roberts, TAFE extraordinaire, overall good guy, Mr. Robert Whittaker, UFC fighter, UFC champion, good, solid guy, and myself. Guys, last week there was a beep in the background during the podcast, and I worked it out that it wasn't actually here, it was in your own living room. So if you could start looking around again today for it, that would be really, really good. Now we got to the bottom of it. It was actually the dishwasher, and we took care of that fellow. He's no longer working with us. So yeah, we're going to be talking today a little bit. Let's kick off. I suppose we'll talk about Bellator card, which is actually a pretty good card.
Yeah, happened on the weekend.
Yeah, let's just talk about. Well, we've got a few fights that I want to talk about, and then a couple. I want to talk about Aaron Pico and Dylan Dennis towards the end. Certain things about that, but I don't know. Let's talk about the main event. Let's talk about Horiguchi versus Caldwell. What did you think of that fight?
I thought that was a great fight. Like, I do not know how Horiguchi survived those elbows. They were so clean, huge elbows. They were massive, but yeah, he's a champ for a reason, you know.
You know, Horiguchi has only had, he's only had like two losses. One of them was to Johnson. Then he won all these fights in UFC, but he won them all by decision. UFC let him go. He went to Ryzen. I think he went somewhere else first. And he won all these. He's won everything.
He's got a super impressive record as well.
Yeah, the only person to have lost to is Demetrius Johnson. Oh, he didn't lose by decision actually. That was that fight where Demetrius Johnson got that armbar in the last second.
The flying armbar?
No. It was in like the last 5-round fight, and Demetrius Johnson got the armbar. There was like 1 second to go in the 5th round. And
who was winning that fight?
Demetrius Johnson was winning it by a fair stretch. But Horiguchi's from, I don't know if he's still there now, but he was at Kid Yamamoto's gym, and he has a karate background, so he started doing karate as a little kid. He's very, very good. Now I'm glad that he won the Bellator belt. But having said that, he was very composed and very he survived the elbows, and then he was able to implement his game plan.
He scrambled, which is great. Like, I feel like they were both fighting, and is it Darian?
Yeah, Darian Caldwell.
Darian just set a really high pace, real fast pace, came out real strong in the beginning, was landing with success, and I think that got to him, and he started ramping it up a bit more, whereas Horiguchi just stayed composed the whole time, kept the same pace, just kept it going, and then when Darian couldn't get that finish and started slowing down a little bit, not scrambling as much, not finishing on top. Can
you tell us a little bit what it's like going through a 5-round fight? Because it's a long time to be fighting. 3 rounds is a long time.
People don't realise the difference between a 3-round fight and a 5-round fight. 3 rounds is 15 minutes. That's a long time to fight someone. But 5 rounds is 25 minutes. That is a long time to be across from someone trying to kill each other. You know, so
But what happens in terms of your energy systems? What happens in terms of psychologically while you're in there? Because I'd imagine that somewhere towards this is just, and I'm cheating a little bit because I have that secondhand experience through you and through other people. But I'd imagine that somewhere in that fight, the adrenaline has to slow down.
Yeah, definitely.
And also your mind would start to work a little bit more in the 25 minutes. Am I correct with that?
100%. 20 minutes in, you're at a point where the adrenaline isn't the same. It's slowed down tremendously. You can start to feel your aches and bumps. Granted, you still have plenty of it. You're still in there fighting. You can't feel your broken hand that you have and you don't know yet. It's still going through you. But you start to get tired. Anybody out there, anybody, try to do something that requires all your focus for 25 minutes. It's hard. It's like sitting in an exam. At the end of an exam, you're toast. You're you're good. You know what I mean? And it's just, mentally, it's so draining. And
how long does it take to get to, how much rest do you need after a massive 25-minute war like that? For a title, psychologically, do you feel?
After the fight? It depends. with my second Romero fight, like that, I needed a big break after that because that took a lot out of me. That took a lot out of me physically, and that more than anything, that took a lot out of me mentally.
In what way?
I was just drained. I was tired. Like I wasn't pumped to get back in there and be like, I can't wait to do this again because it's hard. It's hard. Granted, I love what I do and I love that experience. I love being in there fighting, but like I needed a little bit of a break. You know, I needed a break. So it was great. Just the way things happened and like my broken hand and stuff that I was able to get that mental break, which is huge.
So in a fight like how Caldwell looked like he set a really good pace, and at the start I thought, man, he might get Horiguchi with this. What happens? Like, what are the things that happen in that fight? Look, do you think?
Well,
like, you don't know exactly what was in Caldwell's head, but
obviously, yeah, I don't know what was going through his head or how he was feeling. Maybe he was feeling like this is great, like the whole time. You know what I mean? But I do know from my experience that when you land cracker shots and you land takedowns, and you're not demoralizing your opponent, or you're not slowing down your opponent, or your opponent doesn't look fazed by it, it's annoying. Like it brings on its own psychological, its own frustrations, its own psychological warfare on your half. You start thinking like, what do I have to do this? Especially if your whole camp you've been banking on, I'm going to hurt him and get him out of there. I'm going to hurt him and get him out of there. I'm going to hurt him and get him out of there. It's like, and then when you implement your game plan perfectly, because it was a perfect implementation, like he executed the game plan perfectly to begin the fight. And when you're not getting the results you want, like you either have to have that special element of okay, time to switch it up, new game plan, or you're going to be demoralized and it's going to slowly sap away from you.
Or you have to be very, very, I suppose, disciplined as well to go, no, it's going to happen. I'm going to keep on the course of the original game plan.
Yeah.
And the fruits of my labor are going to appear in rounds 4 and 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's very hard to do as well.
It's super hard, especially like if you look at Darian's record. He's not a super experienced fighter to go up against a guy like Horiguchi. No, that's not taking anything away from Darren. Like,
he's very, very good.
Yeah, he's a great fighter. But I'm saying, like, you can see, especially because Horiguchi has the rising title at the moment. Like
Hey, he's fought for the UFC title.
He's fought plenty of 5-round fights. Like, he's got that experience. And you saw, that's the biggest thing I think I saw that fight, is like you saw the experience difference between the two fighters. Title fight, 5 rounds, 25 minutes.
Especially when I think you're grappling someone and you can't slow him down, or you can't hold him down, or you get him down on the ground, you can't damage him.
Or you're forced to take down and then he scrambles and ends up in a better position than you.
Yeah. Those things I think are very, very difficult to deal with. And again, I think the big thing, and also, you said before you didn't feel the big difference between the arena you fought in. It doesn't matter to you?
No. The biggest difference for me when it comes to arena is just whether it's at home or not. That's the biggest difference for me. But
in what way?
Well, because I can feel a huge difference when it's a home ground advantage to when it's not. Like when I walk out with the Australian crowd behind me, I feel it. Like I can feel it. You've been there. You can feel it. Like the air vibrates. Whereas when I'm in the States, usually fighting one of their locals or one of the US guys, like the cheers aren't the same.
Yeah, but you're not a fighter that gets booed or anything.
No, I do not get booed, but it's not the same. Like it's just I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
But as far as arenas go, like
once you're in the fight,
yeah, it's all the same. Every octagon's the.
But for a person coming up, like say, because Caldwell is not experienced, but someone like Horiguchi who's been through all the different arenas you're going to be in, fought all the different people, the adrenaline dump at the start would be different as well.
Yeah.
And just being, that's the thing that I saw with Horiguchi was like, to me, he looked like he always knew he was going to win. Like he was always like, he was in bad spots. This is what I got to do. Yep, he was in bad spots and he knew the tide was going to turn. And he just, to me, it's that experience, that staying composed.
Yeah.
That people with less fight experience sometimes don't necessarily have.
That's what I rule it down to is like, Horiguchi just had that experience. Now Darian's going to go away with that experience now, and he's going to keep fighting and get more experience, and who knows where that leads him.
Yeah. What do you think of the Sonnen versus Machida fight?
Dude, I thought Sonnen was like, hats off to him for surviving that first flying knee. That was so big. That was so flush, and then getting hit with it again. It's hard. Like I thought from the fight, I thought Lyoto looked very good. Like I thought he looked very, very good. I thought he did what he needed. Like he fought so well. He anticipated. He came in with the game plan, anticipating Sonnen was going to shoot for that lead, and yeah, it was. I mean, shoot for on the right side.
Yeah.
And like Lyoto took that. Like Lyoto's thing is timing. Like the karate stance. It's hard to shoot on a guy with a karate stance. Like look at Wonder Boy. Look at Lyoto. Look at me in some sort of thing. It's hard to shoot on a guy with a stance like that who's playing on the outside. And Lyoto just capitalizes on all his weapons, on all his on everything. He just predicted Shale's movements, and did it great.
Do you like Machida more at light heavy than middleweight?
Yeah, he definitely looks better at light heavy. He's been
now that he's older.
Yeah, especially now. The thing is, like, I thought he was always good at light heavy
because he's fought at heavyweight too.
Yeah, he's moved up.
He fought BJ Penn at heavyweight. I'm pretty sure. No, did you know that?
No, I knew he fought BJ Penn. I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure. Can you look it up, Dave? If it was on BJ Penn versus Lyoto Machida, what weight that was at?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
But like you've seen him throughout his whole career go up and down, up and down, up and down, and I've always thought he looked the best where his timing and his speed and his style most came out was at light heavy.
You just ran into John Jones at light heavyweight, eh?
Yeah, but it's John Jones.
Yeah, no, but he...
Everybody else, though.
Yeah, no. I always thought... Yeah, BJ Penn versus Machida was like back in the day. I'm sure they fought. Yeah, that's it. BJ Penn versus Lyoto Machida. Can you see it? There, I'm looking at it. Go. There.
The clip.
Yeah. I just want to see if it was at heavyweight. I couldn't remember this.
Yeah, I just thought he
that's him. He looks like BJ.
I just thought he just looks better at light heavy. You know, there are a lot of things that
take it off. Yeah.
There are a lot of things that happen when you start to come down in weight divisions. Like we've mentioned a bunch of times, like the weight cut, the water from the brain, the water that's not in your body. I just think for his weapon set, they just really, really shine at light heavy.
And Sonnen, what do you think?
It's hard, like especially because, and I think the fight would have went much differently if he didn't land that first flying knee. I think it would have went much differently because that flying knee set the pace, and it hurt Sonnen, and Sonnen was on the back foot recovering the whole time after that.
He's always been very good against wrestlers himself anyways, Machida.
He's a hard guy to take down. That's his whole thing, is just to keep it standing. And then his whole stylistically, he's a hard guy for a wrestler. You know,
and he can wrestle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did sumo.
Yeah, actually I do. I did.
He did sumo for ages.
You told me.
And Sonnen, he had like apparently he had a really good amateur boxing career before like he wrestled and did amateur boxing growing up. I've heard him say that he and his dad, when his dad was alive, he was talking about trialing for the Olympics in boxing.
Really?
Yeah, Sonnen. So he's got good hands, obviously. And that was an interesting fight. Like, what happens with Machida now, you think?
I think...
like, do you think that he would keep going? Like, because he's like...
How old is he now?
He's not young. He'd be close to 40.
Yeah, I think he'll still fight in Bellator.
And the Rory MacDonald versus Neiman Gracie fight?
Also, like, Sonnen retired.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
I think that's the way you should retire, to be honest.
Which way?
Where it hits you like a light bulb when you go, I'm done. Instead of like knowing you're going to retire before a fight. I don't know how you can fight with one foot out the door. Like, it's too hard. But like, congratulations to Sonnen for a great career. And he's done amazing things.
Absolutely. How hard do you think it will be for you when you put up your gloves? Like how hard do you think it is for someone like him to? Because financially, I'm sure. Like I don't know anything about Charles Sonnen, but he seems like he's got his fingers in a lot of pies. So it doesn't seem like he just needs to fight for the money. But he obviously loves fighting. So how hard do you think it'll be for you when you need to step away? Not that that's in the books right now, but
I don't think it'll be that hard.
Why is that?
Because I'm like, I love fighting and I love combat sports and I love what I do, but it's never been like I've never been in love with everything that surrounds the fight game, like the crowds, the fans, the spotlight, the interviews. I've never liked any of that. It's like I just love testing my abilities against yours, and then having a clear-cut winner, and then being like, yeah, I'm better than you. Like I love that. So I think
but there'll be a point where that has to stop.
Yeah, and I think when I'm done, like
how hard will that be to let go though?
I don't think it'll be that hard, to be honest. Like I invest a lot of my time and a lot of my passions and heart into like my family, my kids, my other stuff. Like I have a lot of things going on, I don't, and like being a fighter and fighting doesn't define who I am, and I think like a lot of fighters struggle with that concept. But I think we've talked about it on a bunch of other things. Like I'm more than just, Rob Whittaker in the UFC. We do a lot of other things, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with who I am. Like take away the fighting, and I think that will make it much easier. Like I think if you're comfortable with who you are and you have a real strong grip on who you are and your identity, you don't need to keep fighting. Like you don't need to come back to be recognized to try to find that,
I think it's hard as well because a lot of when I see that with people don't understand that either. Like I watch that because you're not particularly loud in on camera and that people can only go off what they see, and so it's hard for people. Even I remember Rory MacDonald talking about they're talking to him about fighting GSP, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to fight GSP." I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along those lines. That he's not going to fight GSP, and I can't remember who it was. Said, "Oh, what about if you see George's bank account and it's blah 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 blah?" And he's like, "Do you know what I mean? It's not just about that." Yeah, for sure. I'm sure he wants to get paid as much as he possibly could, but I think just again knowing who he is and knowing what you want is something that a lot of people don't understand. They can only define it by what they see in fighting, like how much money did you get paid for fighting, how many times did you defend the belt, why didn't you do this, you should have kept fighting, you should have quit, you should have done this, you should have done that, and people, like you're human beings with your own goals and your own identities as well. That's another thing that makes me laugh is when they say to me, oh, so-and-so got in so-and-so's head or because he did this and this and that. And I think, like, how would you know, man? How would you possibly know without you knowing and being and dealing with that guy? You know what I mean? Like, maybe the guy that's being loud is people are inside his head and that's why he's being loud, So it's a funny thing.
That's a good way to segue, I guess, into the main event. But that's one of the biggest things. Like that's why I have so much respect for Rory MacDonald. Like his mentor was like GSP, trained him up. They were training partners for so long, and Rory never once got persuaded or peer pressured into taking that fight. Like he just stood his ground, and he's a great fighter. He is a great fighter, ridiculously skilled across the board, great at implementing game plans. Like he's
tough, man.
So tough, and he's such a good fighter. And I just really love the way he conducts himself, the way he's done things. Yeah.
Do you think? But see, again, like he would have been well within his rights to go. Okay, I'm going to leave TriStar, or I'm not going to leave TriStar. Whatever I don't know what arrangements I would have had there, and I'm going to fight GSP. If who the fuck am I? Like, I don't think he should have, you know what I mean, if he didn't want to, which is good for him. But he wasn't even on the cards for him. It was no, I'm not even interested in it. And I think that's very commendable. What did you think of this fight with Gracie?
I think it was a great showcase on how good Rory MacDonald is.
Why do you say that?
And the level difference. Like, Gracie's been able to implement his game plan on all his opponents like flawlessly, but
a huge difference in experience though between the two.
That's what I mean. Like, and that's the level. Like, that's the level. There's that level, and then there's Rory MacDonald level, which is like at the top of the food chain, I believe. He's got like A-grade skill sets across the board, which is much like which is UFC top 5. Like, everybody in the top 5, top 3 have A-grade skill sets across the board, are all fit, are all talented, are all strong, and it's just about the fight. And Rory's right there. Like, of course he's there. Like, he's been top 3, top 2, fighting for the belt in UFC and Bellator now. Like, for how long? You know, that's just a level difference. Like, Rory took him down.
Is he older than you? Same age?
Same age, I think. But he started when he was like 16.
But he hasn't had that many more fights than you, has he? Oh, no, he has. No, he hasn't. You've got about 24, 25 fights.
Yeah.
And he's got 26, 27 fights.
Yeah, he's had a couple more fights. But the fights he's had, were harder.
Yeah, they were crazy.
Like, he was in the UFC at like 18 or something. Like, 19. He was fighting killers, like way back as soon as he started.
How much do you think? Like, I know we spoke about him before. How much do you think that's affected him though?
It's hard to say. Well, it's hard to say, like, without speaking to him. Like, I can't read his mind. But I think there's a point where you get tired, like where you're like he said it before. It's like, I don't want to hurt nobody anymore. It's like, you just.
Do you think he should have been able to put Gracie away? He's going to be good too, eh? Even Gracie. He's going to be real good.
Great. It's going to be great.
Only 9 fights in. Like, only 9 fights in.
He's got a great foundation. But like, I don't think Rory, to me, is like, he's never really been like a go out there, get that shot, finish him sort of guy. He's like, this is what I'm going to do.
He dismantles people.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this for the entire fight. And if I finish you, I finish you. If I don't, then I'll still win. Like, he's, in my opinion, Rory MacDonald is one of the best guys at implementing game plans and sticking to it, showing that discipline to stick to it. Like honestly, he's one of the best guys in the game who's at doing that. I think.
Because you can have the best game plan, eh? Anyone can have a great game plan, but then you got to go, like you said, go out and implement it, and you got to implement it in the fog of war too.
Yeah.
And he's able to do that.
He's great. Honestly, he's one of the best in the game at doing that. Plus, he's like, his skill set is completely built around doing that. Like, his skill set's great. Like, no one aspect is better than the other. You know, his wrestling, his grappling, his striking, it's all up there. And he just goes in there, he implements a game plan and just sticks to it. He's great at it. Like, as well as...
And he can fight. Like
yeah,
if that goes out the window, he's
got that
he
instinct.
can bite down on the mouth guard and he can
100%.
fight too.
You saw that. You've seen that in plenty of his fights. But also another thing which was cool to see is, like, a lot of people with jiu-jitsu anyway, they're... In MMA, you can't fight on your back. No matter how good you are at jiu-jitsu. Like, if the other guy knows how to grapple or he knows how to fight well, you can't be on your back. No matter how good you are at jiu-jitsu, you can't be on your back. Because for one, you're losing in the eyes of the judges straight away. And two, you get hit there. Like, Rory would just control the biceps and throw shots, land good shots, big shots. You know, you can't be on your back in your you can't be on your back in MMA. You just can't. And you see it a lot with guys earlier. They create bad habits because their jiu-jitsu is much. I'm talking much earlier in their career in MMA. Their jiu-jitsu is much better than everything else. So what they do is they shoot a sloppy takedown, and if it doesn't work, they just roll onto their back. You can't do that.
Are you talking about they do that in MMA or they do that just at the gym?
Both. In the gym, that's what they do, but also especially in their MMA, like in like the local shows when they're building up their experience. That's what they do, because you see it all the time. Every local show I go to, I see a guy that's a jiu-jitsu guy, and he goes in for a sloppy takedown, it gets hard, and then he just falls onto his back and then plays there. And then, like, sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. Like, the thing is, you can't create that habit now. Otherwise, that's what happens eventually. Eventually, someone's going to get you. Or some guy that's, like, knows how to just stay in guard, and he's going to beat the shit out of you for 3 rounds. 15 minutes. Like, that was a...
And once you've been hit from that position a few times,
yeah,
and you get slippery and there's blood and your eyes closed up and you start to gas.
Yeah, and it's tiring holding arms, holding neckties. Like, it's hard fighting from there, you know? Like, it's a disgusting habit to enforce. Don't go on your back. Even if you're a jiu-jitsu guy, don't go on your back, please.
Do you think if the rules were different and it was like a 25-minute round, fighting off your back would be a more legitimate strategy? Because you wouldn't have that just 5 minutes where they stand you up and you maybe took damage for a minute and a half, which is a lot.
Nah.
No, I'm just curious.
You saw, like, Rory was there for 25 minutes straight. He would have killed Gracie. You know, like, it's even worse because they'll pin you, they'll keep you on the ground, and you're going to get tired on the ground. You're taking shots, you're taking damage, and they're just going to stay there.
And I think the big problem with that is people assuming, like, the other guy can't grapple. It's like, no, we're talking about high-end sport. It's not like, you know, me playing football on some team and the guy can do whatever he wants because I don't know how to play football. Now you're talking about 2 high-end athletes, and they can both grapple, and the one that gets on top is going to have a massive advantage.
It's going to
have an advantage. It doesn't, like, you know, people are going to point to the Tony Ferguson fight against Kevin Lee, or they'll point to, you know, a few, you know, fights where people submit someone off their back, and you go, yeah, cool. But overwhelmingly, guys can win a fight from the top doing less damage than the guy from the bottom did.
100%.
Now that might be, you can say, well, that's bad call on the ref. So, well, they're the rules you're fighting with. You know what I mean?
The rules don't only work when it's in favour of you.
Yeah.
You know, and you can win fights taking a dude down and holding him.
That's what I mean.
Not throwing a single punch. You can win the whole fight, especially in these 15-minute rounds. But I guess, like,
15-minute fights.
15-minute fights, yeah. Like, it's too short. Like, you're gonna be like, oh, he just kept taking me down. I was like, you're a bitch. Let's stop it.
That's another interesting thing, because, like, predominantly you come from a striking background, and you hear that from people a lot of the times where they go, "No, he didn't want to fight me. He just hugged me. He held me and took me down." In my opinion, if someone can do that to you, you lost the fight.
You're a bitch.
You lost. Like, if you're waiting for the bus and somebody came and grabbed you and just held you down, and you put the shields up and got up, and then he grabbed you again and put you down, you miss your bus, it's because you couldn't defend yourself. And now you're late for work.
Yeah, it's
embarrassing.
It is. Like, don't make excuses, people. Like, just learn how to defend a shot.
And
I just want to stand up and bang. Nah, dude. Learn how to defend takedowns.
When you were younger and you fought for the CFC title, you fought Jesse Juarez. He's a good fighter, good wrestler. Yeah. And he basically just out-wrestled you.
Yeah, wrestled me, held me down. I was a little bitch. I remember thinking that in a fight, and I swear to God, I remember thinking on my back for like the 6th time, thinking, fuck, I'm a bitch.
Because at the end of the day, like, regardless of the nomenclature you want to use, but like, the feeling that you have of somebody grabbing you, manhandling you, it's the same to me. I don't know, like, you know, even when you roll around with someone, and there's guys that you roll around with that aren't even that good sometimes, but they're super strong.
Yeah.
And, like, for me, I'm rolling sometimes with guys, and I'm like, fuck, this guy is like, you know, he might not even be that good, but you can feel that this guy's, like, strong and he's holding you down.
Yeah.
And you can feel that. Now, you might be able to do stuff or whatever, it's not the issue, but you can feel that. And in that particular fight, when you fought, shout out to Jesse Juarez.
Shout out Jesse. He's had multiple shout outs.
Good on him.
Good on this podcast. Big fans.
We're huge fans of yours, Jesse. In that fight, talk us through that, because it's interesting, because you hear it from people where they whine about it, like a little bitch where they got held down. But talk us through that feeling of getting held down and not being able to. You came back, though. I think in that fight, you came back. You almost did stop him a couple of times. towards the end.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you just feel powerless. Like, if you've ever, it's hard to explain to people who's never been held down, and and you want to get up, but you can't. Like, no matter what you do, it's like, and you're losing, and you know you're losing, and you want to get up, and you want to implement your game plan, you want to fight, but he's not letting you. It's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling. It's just
it becomes increasingly more frustrating.
It's frustrating.
Then you got to do higher risk things to
try
and stop him,
or make space.
or to get up or whatever, and that just plays into his
his
world
game.
even more. And you're using more energy to do those things.
So I guess the biggest overwhelming feeling is just powerlessness. It's just terrible. It's terrible.
It's a slow death, eh?
It's horrible. It's tiring.
I want to segue here into Dylan Dennis and Aaron Pico's fights. And I mean, Adam Borics won, so I don't want to talk just about Aaron Pico. But one of the interesting things I find is Aaron Pico is relatively new to the MMA game, so he's had 7 fights, including
super young too.
Yeah, super young. Dylan Dennis was 1-0. Now he's 2-0 against Max Humphrey. Adam Boric says 8-0 here for Bellator, but he's actually had like 14 fights and a big amateur striking career. Now, it's a funny situation because people are criticizing Dylan Dennis's win of Max Humphrey. Max Humphrey's 3-2, now 3-3. But Dylan Dennis is only 1-0. And then you think, well, who's he going to fight? Do you get what I mean? And then Aaron Pico arguably was probably pushed a little bit too early into the fights, but how many people would have been lining up to fight Aaron Pico when Aaron Pico was 0-0 to go, I'm going to fight that kid who I think Aaron Pico was a Golden Gloves champion or something in boxing and silver medalist at World Juniors in wrestling, which is a ridiculously high level. I think he won World Cadets. I don't know if he won it but he definitely medaled at cadets and definitely medaled at World Juniors. And I think he even got a podium finish at the US Seniors Nationals. So he's a high level wrestler, high level boxer. And one guy in Aaron Pico was probably overmatched. And maybe Dylan Dennis was undermatched. But what do you do with a guy like Dylan Dennis whose grappling credentials are through the roof? And with an Aaron Pico whose credentials are through the roof. Now, do you put him up against an Adam Boric, or do you put him up against a Max Humphrey? Like, because people kind of have something to say about Dylan Dennis's, easy win, so to speak, which I think good on him for winning. He beat the guy that put him in front. But what do you do?
Well, in regards to Dylan Dennis's win against Max Humphreys, I think the matchup was fine. Like, Dylan Dennis was 1-0. Max Humphreys is I think record-wise, it was fine. I think that matchup was meant to happen. I think that's how it's supposed to happen.
I agree.
I don't agree with how he conducted himself afterwards.
I didn't see it. I literally watched the armbar and then moved away.
It's cool. It's cool to be getting your wins. Congratulations, get your wins, but don't act like you're the fucking king of the world after beating, your early fights. After getting your second win, chill.
What happened?
He called out John Jones or something.
Did he call out John Jones?
He was running around with 2 Bellator titles at one stage. He's just well, did you see that look that passed in his eyes?
No, but you know what? If he wants to call out John Jones, he look for a fight.
I don't know if it was for a fight or a grappling match, but
a grappling match, would be interesting. I think Dylan Dennis would probably submit him, but a fist fight, I don't think he should be having fist fights with John Jones.
Yeah, I think he should just relax. I get it. If it's just his personality, it's his personality. But come on, man, just relax. Just chill out a bit, okay? It was a great win, but you're still building up your record, and that's clearly what what that fight was. It was just a fight to build up your record. So just act like it. You know, I don't go to like the primary school athletics, smash everybody and act like I'm the fastest runner in the world.
You really think you'd beat everyone in primary school?
Easily.
I don't think so. No, because like a fast 12-year-old. No, look,
1962 Fab.
No. I'm saying like a fast 12-year-old might run 100 meters in 13 seconds, and you wouldn't do that.
Hey, I never said which school I'm going. I'm not going to like
to a sports school.
Sports school. St. Greg's. Like, nah, man. I'm just gonna get like Menai Primary.
You'd probably find some fast kids.
Okay.
And you're not very fast.
I'm gonna sprint up against a young Fab.
Young
Fab. What was it? Grade 7.
Don't make fun of me, mate. I don't make fun of you, mate.
The 1500 meters.
Unbelievable. This is so disgusting. You're shitting on everyone. You're hating on everyone's achievements. I'm feeling Dennis on me, on everyone.
If I went back to primary school to raise primary school kids, I wouldn't do the 1500.
You wouldn't be able to.
No one wants to do the 1500 meter race.
You don't have the mental strength or the intestinal fortitude to do it.
None of the kids line up going, okay, 1500 meters. Yeah, me. There's no one. It was just you running around the track.
That's not nice, mate. You're a fucking hater, and that's why no one likes you. That's why no one likes you. That's why you don't have fans.
Aaron Pico and Adam Borix, that's a hard one. That's hard because, like you said, Aaron's his skill set and like his credentials are through the roof. It's so hard. You can't you put him up against a guy like with a record of 3-2, and he just kills him. You know. What's funny is that we're having the same sort of problem with Jacob now, like from our fight team. Like
does Aaron Pico have reading disabilities too? Is it just Jacob or him as well?
Maybe. It's the thing. But we're having the same thing where one guy clearly is like training and he's trained hard and he's got good skill sets, and then trying to get him a fight with like a guy that's like got the same sort of record, no one takes it. And then you put him up against...
Then you're forced to take fights.
Then you're forced to take like these Adam Borix fights or the other ones where these guys are like experienced dudes.
And like, I guess going back to what we were saying before, the experience matters so much.
Yeah.
Even if the skill sets aren't always at the same level, the experience in a fight matters a lot.
100%.
Why do you think, because Aaron Pico said he's still trying to learn to fight, and he goes, he's still trying to learn to fight, and he's still trying to find, just how to fight, so to speak. But he can box and he can wrestle, and obviously he can grapple. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? How hard is it to glue all those things together?
It's very hard, and I like. This has always been my opinion. Like the best mixed martial artists, like the best guys in the UFC, are the guys that can string it all together the best. So like your John Jones, who can put his wrestling, his striking, and his grappling, and he mixes them all together so well that he can just control the pace of the fight flawlessly. Same with George St. Pierre. Did the same thing. He just mixed everything up so well. And like in my opinion, they're the two best mixed martial artists like the world's ever seen. But just because of how good
Demetrius Johnson as well.
Yeah, Demetrius DJ. Like he just
Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, Cruz. Like those dudes at the apex of the game are just the guys that can mix it all together so well. And
I've always been a big fan of actually Dominic Cruz. I've always liked the way he fights and the way he puts all these things together and the way he can implement the game plan. Yeah. He can fight. And then he can just take the styles and just mesh it, to where you can't see things coming. And a lot of people didn't even know that he was such a good wrestler. I don't know who I was talking to, and I said, no, this guy was like a gun wrestler. And they're like, oh really? Like, because his striking is that good, and he's able to put everything together that well, But he knows the game.
I've been stalking his Instagram lately. Like
for any particular reason, or just
just look at him. No. I was just been watching his footwork drills, the way he moves his head, the way he switches stances, the way he goes southpaw to orthodox, and then strikes off it, and then switches back. But all in the one fluent movement. It's beautiful to watch, and I just watch it, and I look, and I wish I could do it.
And you got to be super fit for that too. So that
fit.
wouldn't be for you.
Hey, no, it's for me. I'm adapting.
That wouldn't be
training. I'm training up.
Yeah. So what do you think will happen with Aaron Picker? Do you think is it like will he just improve, or do you think it can also like psychologically and physically affect him taking the losses that he's taking?
Yeah, like he's in the.
Because like you get knocked out, that's real trauma that's occurring.
Yeah, he's in a hard position. He really is. It's one of those things where it's kind of like a trial by fire thing. He has to kind of either beat your Adam Boricks and then come out on top and then get the experience from that and how to adapt from it, and then, you know, go up that way, or it is going to stunt him, you know, slowly. But in saying that, he's very young. And he
has wrestled, and he probably understands the flow, ebbs and flows as an athlete. Yeah. I think it's a lot of times people watching that don't understand what's happening. I think like
if I were him, I'd chill out. I'd let my head recover from that knockout. I'd come back. I'd start I'd just start training. Maybe try to get some boxing fights. Try to get some kickboxing fights just to learn. Yeah, just to...
Because he's already had a lot of boxing fights.
Yeah, just to... But he's got to... It's hard. Fuck, it's hard. Maybe some kickboxing fights. I don't know. It's hard. He's young enough to go away from the game and come back better. And he needs to kind of increase his experience without...
without taking the trauma as well.
Without taking the trauma and without going up against these high caliber dudes, you know. Or he comes back and knocks out the next guy, and then the rest is history.
But to me, he was even winning that fight anyways. Do you know what I mean? He was winning that fight, and so the game plan was implemented correctly. Like it was all there. And sometimes that's the other thing. It's like what you just said then. Maybe he wins his next fight, everyone just cool, everyone's back, and that's how fickle the fans are. Because he was doing. Sometimes you do everything right, and you just eat a kick. Yeah. And that's it. It's over, you know, or a flying knee. Because that guy hit him, like, with everything. I was watching that knee. I was like, oh, my God, that was such a big shot.
He shattered his jaw.
Did he really break it?
I heard that it shattered it.
No. Really?
That's what I heard.
Can you look it up, Dave?
Have a look.
I mean, I don't doubt it. Like, you can't be good for you eating shots like that. And then that's the other thing as well that
don't worry about it.
No, that's the other thing that the Adam Boric was saying as well. Like he's going in to fight the guy. He's had more experience, and like everything was about Aaron Pico. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So good on Adam Boric too. That was really good. Did you watch the Tyson Fury?
I did.
What did you think?
I think he's crazy. So crazy. Like he's just so loopy. Even in the fight, he looks crazy.
You know, he apparently donated his whole purse, like $9 million, all to the homeless.
Really?
Yeah. Then apparently he did that before. Like he's done that a couple of times.
Such a good guy. Like he's not crazy in a bad way. Like I like him. Like he's crazy in a way that draws me to him. But like he put on a clinic. Like it was a boxing clinic. It was like $25 a head. Everybody can come and watch. And yeah, it was just, it was never like, Schwartz never looked in the fight. Like it looked like a sparring session to me. Like it was crazy.
What do you think will happen with him? Do you think he can fight? Like, do you think he'll go up and fight? You know what I want to see him fight? I want to see him fight Joshua. I want to see him fight Anthony Joshua. I think that I just want to see that matchup. I don't know. I don't think they'll make that matchup, but I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Deontay Wilder fight?
Well, when he fought,
when he fought Deontay Wilder, when he got dropped real bad.
yeah, and came back like a zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sounded like the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. That was mental. That was a great fight to watch.
I don't even. How do you even get up from a shot like that?
I don't know. I can guarantee you.
Because he looked dead.
Yeah,
he looked dead. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I can guarantee you, I wouldn't get up from a shot like that. Like it was, and the way he got up was so funny. It was like he just, and then he got back up. But I watched a couple of his interviews, and he was like if there's the way he was saying it, like he said if there's like, and I'm butchering it probably, but he said like if there's one breath left in my body, I'm coming back. Like I'm in the fight. I'm still fighting. And the way he said it and the conviction in his eyes, I was so certain that literally you're going to have to kill this man to get him out of the ring. Like you're going to have to drop him and then chair him straight after. Like he's a scary dude. He's a scary dude. I'm a fan, but.
I'm
a fan.
Honestly, the fight didn't last. I thought it would go. It didn't really last long enough to even for. Like his movement was crazy too. He went up again.
On the rope-a-dope.
Yeah,
That was great.
The ropes didn't even touch him.
Mate, it looked like a sparring session. It was like a clean clinic. It was crazy. It was a sparring session. Honestly, it didn't look like he left second gear. He didn't need to. He looked composed the whole time. Like he was just chilling. And then in that second round, he got even more relaxed, and then started like his hands were like near his shorts. Like it just took him to town. You know, levels.
On the boxing, what do you think of how this bare-knuckle boxing now? Like this Artem Lobov versus Paulie Malignaggi. What do you think about that fight?
What do I think about the matchup?
Yeah.
It's hard to say because I don't know. Sorry, I don't know too much about bare knuckle and the
5 2-minute rounds.
No. I know about the bare knuckle, like the fight itself, like how it's structured and stuff. I don't know much about how much bare knuckle boxing differs from all the others, because obviously you got no wraps. I mean, you got to look after your hands. You can't just throw into elbows because you got no gloves. You know, so there's nothing really protecting your hands.
And when you wear the 4-ounce gloves compared to the 12-ounce gloves, right?
Yeah.
And you punch someone, what's that like for your hands?
It's sore.
Because you've broken your hands a few times punching in fights.
Yeah, and it's
people don't realize like you can be hitting your head and that's going to break your hands.
or elbows or
Yeah.
Or like you miss by a little bit and you just clip your elbow, you clip your thumb, or it happens. Like, and that's the biggest thing for me. Like, just watching the bare knuckle, like you can't just swing for the fences. You can't, because you're gonna hurt your hands and break your hands. And
but at the same time, the 5 rounds by 2 minutes lends itself for you to go out there and throw like that
and just go mental, 100%. And like. And because you don't see a lot of knockouts in the bare knuckle, like they're cuts, there are a lot of cutting and a lot of just face damage, you know. But there's less brain trauma.
But in the fight itself, there's a lot of I don't know if there's a lot more, but there is a lot more clinch.
Yeah, single arm.
Yeah, because you can sort of grab and that.
And then feed him.
Yeah, but you can't really do that in boxing.
No.
So how do you think that will translate over?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Because you would think, because the pace of bare knuckle boxing is very, very different to boxing. Like very different. Like bare knuckle, like the two guys just go for wild. Just they go straight at each other and there's a pop, and there's hands throwing and there's a clinch and there's uppercuts, 60 uppercuts a second. Like they just go at it.
And there's not enough time as well for, I think, for even if, I don't know how Malignaggi is now compared to how he was back in the day. I don't know, you know what I mean? But I don't think there's enough time for him like to cook him over, because if they put on gloves over 12 rounds, I'd say Malignaggi would still have the advantage, you know.
Yeah.
But Lobov is very, very tough. He's a very physically tough guy. But in that setting, I definitely think that he would. But I don't know in a setting of 5 2-minute rounds, does he have really enough time to do that with Lobov? And I see Lobov being tough enough, very tough, and he'll hit hard enough, and he's got enough boxing.
Yeah, and he's got that experience of like the clinch game and controlling that. Because that's
and used to fighting with small gloves.
Yeah, and I think that's like one of the like a huge skill set in bare-knuckle boxing is that single arm clinching. It's huge because you're bringing him down, you're upcutting the eyes.
Who do you think will win?
I don't know.
If you have to guess,
Lobov.
You think Lobov? Who
Yeah,
do you think, David?
I've had to guess.
No idea.
Because it's not a boxing fight. It's very, very, very different to a boxing fight. Very different to it.
And Malignaggi, the problem as well is I don't know how long Malignaggi, how separated he's from fighting. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how active he is, even sparring-wise and training-wise. Whereas Lobov is fighting right now.
Yeah.
You know who I think, and I said this to you the other day, who I think would be awesome at that rule set? Hector Lombard.
Yeah.
5 times 2 minutes. He would do really, really, really well in those circumstances.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't just throw wild.
Yeah, but Hector he knows how to punch.
Yeah, of course.
And inside, like with like those short arms, clinching you and feeding you, and he's got a chin on him too, hitting you hard like that. I'd love to see him do it, man. Chris Lieben's doing well in that. I'd like to see Hector in it. Just for me, I'd like to see him do it. You know, like,
maybe if you ask him.
Yeah, mate, I'd love to see him do it. You know, there's another funny thing with that. I was thinking about this yesterday, like how many people that fought in Australia at that time, there were so many good guys, but when they got to the UFC and that, I feel that, like, Hector went to Bellator first as well, but I still feel like we didn't get to see, in the UFC definitely, like, we didn't get to see the best Hector for a long enough time. I think there were other guys, like even Kyle. Kyle went to the US and that like a little bit after George Soteropoulos. They were all, if I'm not mistaken, like in their 30s, like, you know what I mean? Like, then there was so many other guys, I feel like Alex Prades, I think had it been like a 10-year difference, he would have been done really well in the UFC. Luke Pizzuti. There was a whole bunch of guys from that sort of time frame that I think would have done well. Luke was even before that because and Alex as well, because they were pre-CFC days.
Yeah.
You know, Elvis, Anthony, all those guys as well that did really well. But I feel like with Hector, we sort of
caught the tail end.
You caught the tail end of what that was.
What it could have been.
I would have loved to have seen him.
As well as they put him up against good guys straight out of the bat.
In the UFC?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he went to Bellator first and did really well there. And then when he went to the UFC, he fought, I think his first fight there was Bosch, a middleweight.
Was it, or was it Pal Harris?
No. Pal Harris was a welterweight. But Pal Harris was his first fight at welterweight.
Okay, yeah.
And he did really well.
Yeah, I remember watching that Bosch fight. I was in the house at the time.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did well, man.
Kept on the outside, kept chopping that leg, the inside leg.
But he hurt Bosch as well. You know, like but by the time you saw him at welterweight and you saw him at that, like, I think it had been a while, you know, like, and I just always think, like, when I think of like short rounds that require power, I always think that's your dude.
Yeah.
That's a guy, like, if you fought him, said, dude, it's 2 minutes, it's 1 round, 2 minutes, that's going to be... It's going to be furious, man.
Scary, dude.
That's going to be furious.
It's scary.
So yeah, that's my my take on it. No, the bare knuckle is interesting. I guess our main thing that we like, the most important thing to discuss is
the biggest thing in combat sports.
Yeah, biggest thing in combat sports at the moment is your Bieber versus Tom Cruise.
What about it?
Dave, can you turn that off? Can you turn it off? For a sec? Who do you have?
Well, I don't. No, it's not going ahead. I think Bieber message saying he doesn't want to fight.
No, who do you have if they fight?
If they fought. The thing is, I'm like biased, but it's not. I'd probably go for Tom Cruise.
Why are you biased?
Because I've seen heaps of his movies. Like, I like him. He's crazy.
Who do you think will win?
And he does all his own stunts.
Who do you think will win?
I reckon Tom Cruise has got him.
Why is that?
It's just, I don't know. I just think of Bieber and I want to fuck hit the bastard.
Bieber's been boxing with
Yeah, he's
for
been
a
Floyd,
while now.
hasn't he?
Yeah, with Mayweather for a while, for like 2 years now.
And he does jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah. So like.
So why do you think?
And like Tom is double Bieber's age, double. Tom's like 56.
Yeah. So who do you think would win?
Like, I think I don't know in what like a UFC fight.
UFC fight.
I think Bieber would win, but I'm going for Cruz.
So you stay with Cruz?
Yeah. A couple of people saying Cruise by a triangle.
No, I think Bieber would win just because he's younger.
Yeah.
But Tom Cruise wrestled when he was younger.
Yeah, and he's tough.
He's tough.
But I think he'd gas.
And he played high level football too.
Yeah, but I think he'd gas. He's 56. You can't hold some. I know how hard it is to hold someone down. It's hard.
Do you think Bieber would be able to get up?
Hey?
Would be able to get up from the bottom, or do you think he'd submit him?
I don't think he'd submit him. Oh, what is Bieber? A purple belt? I don't know. Are they even the same? I don't know. This is
important. No,
this is stupid.
It's
This whole
important,
thing.
Rob.
You're killing me just talking about this shit. Like, it's fucking dumb. I'm trying to be serious here, but I'm thinking about it from a technical point of view.
That's what I'm asking you.
It's fucking ridiculous. I don't care.
I'm asking you from a technical point of
It's
view.
fucking shit.
Who do you think would win?
I think Bieber would win just because, like, Tom's 56, man. Like, that's old. That's old to be in a UFC fight. And if you think about it, the guy's 56. He wrestled something like 40 years ago. Yeah. Like, you're saying Tom wrestled, but like
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, 40 years ago.
I'm just telling you.
He wrestled 40 years ago.
I think Bieber would win. I think Bieber's got too much range. Too much range.
I think
you definitely have the height advantage.
No, not really. I've seen this. The match. It's like 5'8" versus 5'7".
Tom Cruise is not 5'7".
He is. He is. I saw the lineup. Bieber does have reach on him though, a couple inches, but the stats were pretty close to be honest.
How heavy are they?
I don't know how heavy they are though. What, 147? No, it won't be that. But like, it's just, yeah, it's fucking dumb. It's stupid. It's killing me here. Like, Tom Cruise is 56. I think the whole thing was just a media stunt anyway. Because...
You're very perceptive.
Huh?
You're very perceptive.
Nah. But like, what would you call out a dude who's 56? That's fucking slack.
I think you
show some respect.
I think you're too... This is not welterweight, by the way. It's welterweight boxing. And this is the thing. There'd be a featherweight fight. But yeah, no, I don't think that. I'm
getting mad talking.
Yeah,
about
I think you're too emotionally invested in this fight.
I'm getting mad.
Yeah, you're too. Yeah. I want to challenge Tom Cruise to fight in the octagon. Tom, if you don't take this fight, you're scared and you will never live it down. Who's willing to put on the fight at Dana White? And then Tom Cruise. It's true. You are. Yeah, that's the correct grammar. So yeah. No, all right. So what's next, Rob? What are we?
Just training. Still trying to book in a date for me and Adesanya. We got the program launching very, very shortly.
Hey, what are they talking about that with your fight with Adesanya? Because I read in the newspaper that it's not going to be in Melbourne; it's going to be in Vegas.
Yeah, someone else told me that they saw it in the newspaper too. Like, how did they know before me?
The newspaper?
Yeah.
It was the Daily Telegraph, I think.
Nah, but it was just a story. Like nobody.
Yeah.
So there's no truth to that.
Well, I can't confirm anything at this point. I do know they're tossing between Vegas and Melbourne, but the problem is the date is pretty much I'm pretty certain it's confirmed like 6th.
October 6th, which is the grand final.
Which is the grand final weekend, which means coming to Melbourne would be pretty stupid.
Now, but Melbourne grand final, AFL grand final is a week before, 28th of September.
But it's still
shit.
Yeah, still
because
the
everyone,
weekend.
for those that don't know, if there's anyone watching, on the east coast of Australia, basically everybody shuts down for the NRL grand final weekend.
Yeah.
So booking it on that date.
Yeah, and some guys take the next week off.
Not only that, like all of Australia really, but in particular the east coast and New Zealand. So New Zealand and Australia, that October 6th is a huge weekend. There's a Curry knockout for those in Australia, and for New Zealanders, they all watch the grand final, whether or not the Warriors are in.
And it's my brother's birthday.
Big Steve?
Big Steve.
Big Steve's birthday.
A lot of places shut down for that.
Or because of Steve.
So I don't know. I'm not certain what's going to happen. All I do know is that I'm training for it, and I'm looking forward to touching gloves with him.
Yeah. So with that, even with the grand final still going, Bank West was originally discussed. Why isn't that on the table anymore?
You're asking the wrong person, my friend.
I don't think it's,
It's not it's.
I don't think it's big enough. How many people's Bank West? Like 30,000?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I
don't remember it even being in the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't. No, because one, I don't think it's big enough, and two, like if you held it in Australia, like that they will get 60,000 for sure. Like, you know.
If they just didn't do it on October 6th, we could fill out any arena in Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just not that weekend. We'll fill out any arena in Australia, and the fact that the UFC don't want to capitalise on that is ridiculous.
It'd be crazier to have you and Adesanya fight in Vegas, and it's the first time a New Zealand and Australia fight, and an Australian fight for a UFC title. You know, that's insane. And we'll go, let's do it in Vegas on grand final weekend. That's
no one
mad.
watches.
You know what gets to me as well? Like, I don't understand, because like the UFC would have to have advisors in Australia and people in Australia to comment on
Pete
that.
Klosko.
Well, yeah, I don't understand.
You need to get on it, mate. You need to get on it.
Yeah, I don't understand that, because you would imagine that they'd be like, oh no, that's like the massive weekend here in Australia.
Don't do it.
Yeah, like I don't know.
So yeah, we're training for that. We've got Golden Boots this weekend.
Well, that's a wrestling.
Yeah, we got Golden Boots Wrestling. If you wrestle, go to Golden Boots. It's this weekend. Yeah, that's about it. We're doing another podcast tomorrow. So if you're tuning in today, make sure you tune in tomorrow.
But madness thing that's going to happen. It's going to be madness, people. Talking with TK, doing a podcast with Rob and I, but we are going to film them filming us doing a podcast.
You like that? Free content.
It's mad. I can't get my mind around it.
Yeah.
I have to go home and lie down with a damn cloth on my head.
It's like that movie. What's that movie? The one with the... forget it. I don't know.
You just killed it. On that note, people, we'll wrap it up.
But before we wrap it up,
he's going to get it.
I want to know how many people are interested in seeing a gaming segment between me and Fab. We will be playing probably something on the PS4. It'll be a competitive game, and we'll be doing it probably through YouTube as well. I just want to see some interest in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Subscribe and like this.
It's not really fair though, because I don't play video games, you see.
Yeah.
So I played Street Fighter with Rob before the Uriah Hall fight.
We'll play Street Fighter.
And but it's got to be on the arcade games.
No, you can't do that. They don't make them anymore.
But when I was growing up, that's the only games I played.
Okay, I'll buy you an arcade stick.
What do you mean?
I'll get you a little stick with the button.
It's not fucking...
What do you mean it's not the same?
It's just not the same. It's not the same as the arcade.
Just quick, people are saying the UFC games.
Yeah, but no, it's too complicated for Fab. Fab is literally sitting here going, I only play on the stick arcade games.
I only ever did.
We're going to learn something new here.
Yeah, but it's not really fair.
I used to only drink cola from Aldi's, but look at how we grow.
Things have changed.
Things have changed.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care. Tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.